Let's get back to Rivers State, where the House of Assembly has now issued a warrant of arrest for chairman of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, Adolphus Enebene, and other commissioners. This follows the failure of the officials to appear before the lawmakers at the expiration of the second ultimatum given them. The House says there is need for RISIEC officials to answer questions about their conduct in office, especially as it relates to the rescheduled local government election. But in a dramatic twist, 3 of the commissioners appeared before the House today, announcing that they had resigned their appointment with the commission. The lawmakers resumed plenary despite efforts that Governor Siminalayi Fubara had invited them to a meeting at the government house. Still on developments from Rivers State, some Ijaw political groups have condemned the threats of violence over the Supreme Court judgment on the situation in the state. They are calling for restraint as concerns grow over an impeachment plot against Governor Fubara.
The Ijaw People's Congress in Rivers State is alleging that certain individuals are beating the drums of war by spreading false information of plans to impeach the governor. The Ijaw extraction of members of the Association of Local Governments of Nigeria are in support of this position, saying there is still room for dialogue to avert an escalation of the crisis.
The recent fears regarding the impeachment of the governor of Rivers State, His Excellency Siminalayi Fubara, raised by Professor Benjamin Okagba and his cohort, are unfounded and premature. As the State House of Assembly has not declared such an intention. However, even if the House were to express this view, it is not an issue that should be resolved through threats of violence and disruption.
As everybody is aware, impeachment is a profound constitutional prescription to penalize any erring governor or president in the presidential system of government. The judge should, at this point in time, ensure that their beloved son, Governor Fubara, does not carry out any act that will necessitate the deployment of this constitutional approved procedure.
Both groups are kicking against threats to disrupt oil production in the Niger Delta, aiming at stalling implementation of the Supreme Court judgment.
The Supreme Court has the final authority to interpret the Constitution and the country's laws, and its decisions are final and binding on all. Those who call for war, destruction, and civil disobedience will be reminded that Rivers State belongs to all its people, and no individual or group has the right to impose their will through violence and terror.
We frown at the regular use of our ethnic identity to threaten the rest of our countrymen because of the vast natural resources that are domiciled in the region. We want to assure Nigerians that we shall mobilize our massive support base to protect oil installations situated in our respective communities.
The Ijaw leaders advised all parties against making provocative statements, but also offered to work with security agencies to bring sponsors of violence to book.
Let's bring in leader of the Rivers Ijaw People's Congress, Senator George Sekibo. He joins me live on the program from Abuja. Senator Sekibo, thanks for joining us on the program this evening. Governor Fubara's invite to the lawmakers today was turned down. We had the House issuing a warrant of arrest on chairman of RISIEC. Would you say both parties have shown enough commitment to keep the peace in Rivers?
Yes. The Rivers State House of Assembly and Court. You will recall, immediately after the judgment, they sent a letter of invitation to the governor of Rivers State to appear before them.
It appears we have issues connecting
that is normal.
With Senator Sekibo.
Took the leader to government house. The dispatch rider was chased away, or driven away. The leader was not received. Then later, the governor said in the media, social media, that he didn't get the letter. If he didn't get the letter, he see it on social media. It is the onus lies on him to take a call across to the Speaker of the House of Assembly and confirm from him, because at this particular period, that is a crisis period. So if you want peace, that is what he ought to do. He didn't do it. Having failed in that, he now asked his SAG, the Secretary to the State Government, to write a letter signed by the Secretary to the State Government and sent to the Assembly, the Speaker. It is not done in that way. Every legislator will tell you, as somebody who served in the National Assembly for 20 years, I will tell you, if the President of this country wants to have a meeting with the National Assembly, the letter will be endorsed by him, not by any aides. And so the SLG cannot write a letter to invite the Speaker and members of the Assembly that Governor was calling them for a meeting. It is not done in that way. Two, that letter was not sent to them. It was just placed on social media to either gain sympathy from the public. I led Port Harcourt yesterday, this morning, to Abuja. We were monitoring it, whether they are going to letters. He did not send any letter to them. Even that one, the SSG endorsed, it didn't send to them. It means that the governor is not actually buying to the judgment of the Supreme Court.
Senator Sekibo,
our observation.
We'll get back to who signed that letter or not, but part of the agenda on that letter was payment of outstanding allowances to the lawmakers, getting a befitting space for them to meet, and also resubmitting the budget. You don't think that's the governor extending an olive branch, especially when you consider the position of the Supreme Court and his attempt to implement them?
You know, see, that is what I'm saying. The first attempt was made by the House of Assembly, which the governor did not honor. Now, if you want to invite them, he ought to have signed the letter and sent to them. They will come. Why won't they come? We are all looking for peace. We've advanced ourselves. But they will not ask, he will not ask the Secretary of the State Government to write a letter inviting them, inviting another arm of government. There are 3 arms of government. The President cannot use any of his aides to write to the Chief Judge of the land, the CJN, to come to Villa for a meeting. That letter must be endorsed by the President. If the governor wants to meet with the House of Assembly, he should write them. He should write and endorse the letter and send to them. If he has done that one, then they will reply him, we are coming. Or we are not coming. They will respond. Now he did not do it. He asked his own aide to write to them. Is it because he claimed that they are not in existence? If they are in existence, he knows the rule. He knows the law. He should follow the procedure.
Following the Supreme Court judgment, Governor Fubara had a broadcast where he stated categorically that even though he disagrees with the content of the judgment, but that as a law-abiding government is ready to align himself with it. There are now threats of violence and disruption of oil production if the House goes ahead with the rumored impeachment plans. What are your thoughts in this regard, especially when you hear the drums of war and some militants coming on social media to threaten violence in this regard? You would think that both parties would sit up and ensure this doesn't happen. Do you agree, for instance, that an attempt to impeach Mr. Governor will destabilize the peace in Rivers State?
See, if the people are concerned about impeachment of the governor, there are legal and political framework within which that can be settled. That cannot be settled by people that are carrying arms, threatening in the forest. That will not settle that one. But the House of Assembly has not even said that one yet. They have not declared that one yet. So why are you preempting them? You are reminding them that that's something they ought to do. They have not said so yet. But even if they have said so, there are legitimate means through which such issues can be handled and resolved.
And by legitimate means, what are you referring to? Because the last we heard from Mr. Governor, whether it was on social media or not, he has called for a meeting with the lawmakers, which they declined today, asking him to send it properly.
No, the lawmakers did not get the letter. They didn't, in this modern day of AI and all kind of publication, you see a letter on social media inviting you. For instance, as I am now, I see a letter on social media that the president of this country is inviting me for a meeting tomorrow morning by 10. So I should run down there. I cannot run down there. I have to look for a verifiable means because he's my boss. I'm not his equal. In this case, there are two arms of government that in this matter, the executive and the judiciary. If you're inviting the executive and the legislature, if you're inviting the head of the legislature, the head of the other government has to write and sign and send to him. In any case, what is wrong? If the governor places a call across to Honorable Martin Amewule and say, look, my brother, can we meet? Or I want to meet with you people. I send a letter, do you receive it? Somebody who is trying to broker peace, take extra steps. You don't just put a letter on the social media and then sit and waiting for them to come while they are not sure whether you are the one that sent that document to them or not. So I think that if the governor wants to meet with them, he should formally write to them, sign the letter by himself, and make sure they receive the letter. They are ready to receive the letter, and they will provide the channels of meeting with him and discuss with him.
I spoke last week with former Inspector General of Police Michael Kiro. I wanted to hear precisely what he said about an impending violence in Rivers if the crisis is not resolved. So you want that Rivers State risks becoming a no-go zone if this crisis escalates. Are you looking into a crystal ball or you have access to some intel on this matter?
Yeah, I got some intelligence report on the matter, and I feel every good-thinking Nigerian, every well-wisher of Rivers State should look at what's happening in Rivers State right now. It's a matter of time. If we keep quiet and allow things to go the way they're moving, it will be a very bad story for Rivers State and bad story for Nigeria. Because I've been following up what's happening, and I have my intelligence report also. I'm monitoring both the gladiators and also the people themselves. The citizens of Rivers State are not at ease at all. The youth are not at ease at all. Yeah, because if you look at it, you find that it's an issue that is tails to lose, heads to lose. Nothing both parties can do will benefit both parties at the end of the day. The citizens are suffering. Look about it.
That's former Inspector General of Police Michael Kiro. Senator Sekibo, are you worried about this position? He says he has an intelligence report about an impending crisis if both parties don't sit across the table to resolve this in time.
Well, just like I mentioned, those who are planning hailstone and brimstone, they are from Rivers State. Our wives, our children, our aged mothers, aged parents, they are all in Rivers State. If anyone brings any disruption or whatever, it will affect every Rivers man. No Rivers man want to fight. We went through the Biafran war, Nigerian Biafran war, and we saw what we went through. No Rivers man want to go to war. I will advise that the former IG should advise the governor of the state to take the formal process of meeting with the legislature, invite them and meet with them. I believe they are ready to meet with him.
I hear you, but he's also now called on both Nyesom Wike and Governor Fubara. He specifically mentioned in that interview that history will not be kind to them if this happens. What role do you see both men specifically play in this regard?
Well, you are aware in 2023, Mr. President invited them for a truce, and they went. And now you have brought in Nyesom Wike's name. Nyesom Wike and Right Honorable Martin Amewule and his members accepted whatever the president said. But the governor, who said he accepted, after a few days, turned his back on it, that it ought not, it is against the Constitution. The truce was unconstitutional. So if there's a problem in Rivers State, assuming we must hold the governor responsible. He is the governor of the state. He is the chief security officer. If there are crises, he should look for a way to make sure that crisis is put off. But he cannot now, 3 days ago, that he will even lead the young boys to the street and cause havoc. How can the governor speak in that light? Can the governor speak in that light? That he will lead vandals, he will lead militants to the street and cause havoc. He can't say so. He's the governor. He's the first citizen of that state. He should keep to restraint. He should hold restraint for what he's saying. He's leading people, professors, academicians, people of all classes. Today he's the father of Rivers State. All of us is our father. No one denies him. No one denies him. But he should not behave in that matured manner and handle the work as a statesman. He is a statesman. If you are looking for victory, sometimes you lie low. You can fall down and they march over you, and then you win. That's how great men do their things. I think that he has a major role to play.
Absolutely, but not just him, because he's not the one fighting himself. You talked about the agreement signed with Nyesom Wike with Mr. President earlier on. The governor claims that that agreement was one-sided, skewed in favor of the Wike camp. Do you see Mr. President still playing a significant role in resolving this matter?
Why do you say the agreement is one-sided? The president, the two parties were there. If the agreement were one-sided, those people who are against the agreement, which is one-sided, should have pointed it out. Mr. President, we are before you. This agreement appears to be one-sided. This point, and this point are not good for what we have discussed. Can you do an amendment or can you rephrase it? That could be done. They didn't say so. They stayed there, agreed, took their pens and signed the agreement, then came to Rivers State and said that the agreement was one-sided. My brother, is that how they do things? You went for a meeting. They were saying something against you. Things that are not in their own favor. It did not say anything. Then they say, sign. You sign it. Then they come back to your office and say, no, it is one-sided. It is one-sided. It is unconstitutional. So I think we are past that stage. The stage we are now. Let the governor of the state formally invite the members or the Speaker of the House or the members of the House in writing by himself. Let him sign it. He's the one to sign it. If I'm making peace with you, I can even call you on the phone. What is wrong? If he takes his phone and call the Right Honorable Martin, what is wrong? There's nothing wrong. He can even say, I call him, he rang out 4 times, didn't pick. And the public will sympathize with him. The public opinion will be in his own favor. But he has not done that. He is the leader. See, whoever is fighting with him is the leader of the state now. He's the governor of the state. So he must do whatever is possible to bring peace to that his own state.
I hear you, Senator Sekibo, and you're talking about the means of correspondence between both parties. But I'm concerned if there is still room for dialogue and a political situation or solution to this matter, because we've heard one of the parties say over his dead body, he wouldn't forgive the other party. Do you still see a room for dialogue in this situation?
Yes, there is. There is. There is dialogue. That is why I said it should follow legal and political framework. I said so. I said so. For instance, calling the Right Honorable Speaker of the House formally as he ought to do. He has started the dialogue process. Dialogue means I want to reach out to you. Let's talk. It's not just necessarily through a letter. I have sent a letter to you. I am also calling you, Mr. Speaker. Can we meet? Can we meet and have a chat? Either you and me or the leadership of the House. It is a possibility. That does not remove him from being the governor. Even if he lies down on the floor now and somebody marches on him, he's the governor of the state now. So nothing removes his strength, nothing removes his power, nothing removes his authority. But he has all the opportunity to bring peace to the state. Now, the onus lies on him. The doors are open for him. The judgment has come out clearly. Let him do what he ought to do.
We hear that the Ijaw people are sharply divided as regards this crisis. While you hold solidly behind this position, we're also hearing other figures who are in support of Governor Fubara in this regard. What do you consider the political way out? I hear you say call the right honorable. It's okay to call, but it also matters what is being discussed and the demands put on the table. What are the political, alternatives for the Ijaw nation in this regard?
The Ijaw nation has, as at now, the cross of the matter is in the hand of Mr. Governor, not even the Ijaw nation. When the president invited both parties for a dialogue and then they reached those agreements, the president of Ijaw National Congress, Professor Benjamin Okaba, says that it was unconstitutional. We went to him, River Ijaw People Congress, drove from Port Harcourt, over 200 persons, went to meet with him in Negua, in Ijaw House. Don't do so early. These are the results it might likely bring in. After him, we met with the president of Ijaw Youth Council. The same day, we met with them. A week after, Professor Okapa came to my house and met with some of the River Ijaw People Congress members in my house and promised that within a week or two, he was to bring every person together and see how all of us will now move to Nyesom Wike, the former governor, and then move to Sasimilari Fubara, the present governor, and how we can resolve the matter. Till today, we are waiting for him. He has not done it. But he's staying in Negua and planning putting up threat in River State. So you see, they have already failed. For me, this matter can be handled between the governor and the speaker. They can do it.
All right, we have to go now, Senator Sekibo, but you have mentioned the governor's efforts a couple of times. You seem to have completely forgotten the role that former Governor Wike plays in all of this. You don't think he has an obligation to also extend an olive branch?
Look, my brother, the judgment the Supreme Court handed down recently does not mention Nyesom Wike's name, former Governor Nyesom Wike's name. It mentioned practically the state governor several times.
All right.
And then it mentioned the Speaker of the House of Assembly and members of the Assembly. It mentioned council chairmen that were illegally sworn in and all that, and the use of government funds. Nyesom Wike's name was not out. So that is why I'm saying that primarily this matter is between the governor and the speaker or the members of the State of Assembly. Let him take the right steps in the right direction.
All right.
And approach them. I believe that they will listen to him. They will hold dialogue with him. They may meet with him. They cannot say they will not meet with him. Because they are not looking for peace.
Good place to leave it. Senator Joseph Kibo, leader Rivers Ijaw People's Congress. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
The conversation is on Rivers State. There has to be a way, and the call for peace is also loud for both sides. That's our show today, everyone. You can watch it again at midnight and at 6 a.m. tomorrow. I am Nifemi Okuntoye.